The story follows a high school student named Tommy Riley, who moves to a rough neighborhood with his dad. Their new home is in gang territory, and trouble seems inevitable. On his first day at school, a group of local bullies harasses Tommy, calling him names and trying to intimidate him. To make things worse, the same bullies end up in his class. At first, Tommy avoids trouble by switching seats whenever they tell him to. But by the fourth time, he's had enough. He refuses to move, and just as a fight is about to break out, the teacher walks in and stops it. The bullies threaten him, promising to settle things at recess. Sure enough, during the break, they confront him again, this time with backup. Before things escalate, another gang interrupts, causing tension between rival groups. Gang fights are a regular occurrence at the school. During one such fight, a gang leader pulls out a sharp weapon, but teachers intervene before things get out of hand. At home, Tommy faces a different challenge. Debt collectors show up, demanding payment for his father's gambling debts. They threaten Tommy, but don't harm him, warning that his dad needs to pay up soon. That night, Tommy's father comes home and apologizes for dragging him into this mess. He promises to fix everything, saying he's found a high-paying job in another city. To help out, Tommy takes a dishwashing job at a local restaurant. But the bullies from school show up there too, picking on him. At first, Tommy tries to ignore them, but when they push him to the ground, he fights back, punching two of them. Before he can finish off the third, an old man named Jack steps in. Jack, a boxing promoter, likes what he sees and offers Tommy a chance to fight in an underground boxing match. Jack offers $600, but Tommy negotiates for $1,050. After some back and forth, Jack agrees. Later, Jack introduces Tommy to Noah, his trainer. Noah warns him that these fights are like war. There's no fairness, and survival is all that matters. Tommy's first opponent is Black Death, a notorious fighter known for playing dirty. Before the match, Tommy runs into his classmate Romano, who's shocked to hear this. Romano warns him to watch out for Black Death's right hand during the fight. With this advice in mind, Tommy steps into the ring. The crowd is overwhelmingly in favor of Black Death, and they cheer loudly when he enters. As the match begins, it's clear that Noah was right. Black Death doesn't fight fair. He elbows Tommy, causing him to bleed, and even lands a painful punch to Tommy's groin. The referee ignores it all because in this ring, anything goes. But as the fight drags on, Black Death starts to tire. Tommy seizes the opportunity, unleashing a flurry of punches that finally knock Black Death down. Against all odds, Tommy wins, shocking the crowd and everyone who bet on Black Death. The next day, Tommy meets with Jack's boss, Mr. Horn, to collect his $1,050. Horn is impressed by Tommy's performance and offers him more fights. Tommy refuses, stating he only wanted to settle his current debt. Later, Tommy runs into Dawn, who's disappointed to learn he's fighting underground. When she finds out it was only one match, she feels relieved. Tommy insists he has no plans to fight again. But things change when Jack arranges another meeting with Horn. During their conversation, Horn reveals a shocking truth. The debt collectors who visited Tommy work for him. Worse, Tommy's father has fallen back into gambling, and the debt has now skyrocketed to $15,000. Horn offers a solution. Tommy can fight a few more matches to clear the debt. Reluctantly, Tommy agrees. On his way home, Tommy sees his classmate Lincoln getting ambushed by gang members. Tommy jumps in to help, but they're outnumbered and forced to flee. After escaping, Lincoln confides that he has a wife and child to support, which is why he also fights in underground matches. That night, Tommy watches Lincoln's match. Despite being overpowered at first, Lincoln manages a comeback and wins. After the fight, Tommy grows curious about Horn's past and asks Noah about him. Noah explains that Horn was once a world champion boxer, with only one loss in his career. After avenging that loss, he retired due to a severe leg injury. Unable to box anymore, he turned to promoting fights, which made him wealthy without risking further injury. In the days that follow, Dawn visits Tommy while he continues training. Dawn grows increasingly worried as Tommy stops showing up at school. Eventually, Tommy opens up, revealing the family struggles that have driven him back into the illegal boxing scene. Understanding his plight, Dawn offers her support, and their bond deepens. Life seems to improve as Tommy embraces his role as an underground fighter. Dawn stands by him at every event, and their relationship blossoms into romance. Tommy also forms close friendships with Romano and Lincoln, training and spending time together daily. But their world is shaken during one of Romano's fights. That night, Romano faces a weaker opponent named Shortcut. Romano dominates early, but in the fifth round, Shortcut discreetly coats his gloves with a mysterious liquid. As the fight resumes, Shortcut traps Romano in a chokehold, forcing him to inhale the substance. Romano's vision blurs, and his performance crumbles. Shortcut seizes the moment, launching a merciless assault. Even as Romano bleeds profusely, Shortcut continues his brutal attack, seemingly enjoying the torment. Horrified, Tommy watches from the sidelines. With the referee refusing to intervene, Tommy sprints to the bell and rings it, ending the fight. But it's too late. Romano collapses unconscious in his corner. Later, Tommy receives a call from his father, who speaks nonchalantly, unaware of the tragedy. He mentions delaying his return due to unfinished business. The following day, Tommy visits Romano in the hospital, only to learn his friend is brain dead. Devastated, Tommy vows to seek justice. His opportunity comes when he faces Shortcut in the ring. Shortcut attempts his usual trick, but Tommy is ready. This time, he fights back with ferocity, even delivering a low blow. Overwhelmed, Shortcut falls quickly, and Tommy secures a first-round victory. With Romano gone, Lincoln becomes Tommy's only close ally. However, tragedy strikes again. During a training session, Lincoln suddenly collapses. The doctors trace it back to a severe head injury sustained earlier and warn him to rest or risk permanent damage. But Horn, the promoter, has other plans. That night, Tommy discovers his scheduled opponent fighting someone else. Confronting Horn, he learns the shocking truth. Horn has set up a match between Tommy and Lincoln. "I'm not fighting Lincoln," Tommy insists. "You will," Horn retorts, "and I'll make a fortune." Furious, Tommy confronts Lincoln, who refuses to back down. Desperate to prove himself, Lincoln sees this fight as his ticket to the pros. "I've got no choice, Ghost. This is my shot," Lincoln says. Realizing he can't change Lincoln's mind, Tommy tries to sway Horn, but his pleas fall on deaf ears. The days pass, and the inevitable fight between Tommy and Lincoln looms closer. The stage is set for the biggest underground boxing match. The crowd roars and Dawn is there, ready to support Tommy. But while the energy is electric, Tommy's mood is anything but. Unlike Lincoln, who's fired up and ready to dominate, Tommy remains passive and distant. As the first round bell rings, Lincoln unleashes a relentless assault. Tommy, however, refuses to fight back, even after being knocked down. His passive approach enrages Lincoln and frustrates the audience. Horn, who thrives on action-packed fights, grows impatient. During the second round break, Horn escalates matters by grabbing Dawn. He threatens Tommy, warning that if he doesn't fight seriously, there will be consequences. But even with Dawn at risk, Tommy refuses to engage fully, knowing one hit to Lincoln's head could be deadly. To appease the crowd and Horn, Tommy reluctantly lands a single punch. Between rounds, he tries to reason with Lincoln, emphasizing that Horn doesn't care about them, only his profits. But Lincoln answers with another blow to Tommy's head. Finally, Tommy stops holding back. However, as the fight progresses, Lincoln starts to grasp the weight of Tommy's words. This match, pitting friends against each other, feels wrong. Deciding enough is enough. Lincoln walks away, leaving the fight unfinished, drawing boos from the audience. Horn is livid. He storms into the ring, demanding Lincoln finish the match. When Lincoln refuses and declares his independence from Horn, Horn snaps. Without hesitation, he punches Lincoln, knocking him out of the ring. Tommy has seen enough. He steps forward and challenges Horn directly. If Tommy wins, Horn must clear his father's debt. If Horn wins, Tommy will work for him indefinitely. Horn agrees, but with one condition: they'll fight bare knuckle. The fight begins, and Horn's experience as a former champion is evident. He toys with Tommy, mocking and landing brutal hits. But Horn's arrogance blinds him. Tommy studies his moves, formulating a plan. First, he allows Horn to strike his head, resulting in Horn breaking a finger. Then, Tommy provokes Horn into a rage, knowing his anger will cloud his judgment. When the moment is right, Tommy pretends his right arm is injured, catching Horn off guard. With precision, Tommy unleashes a devastating punch, followed by a rapid series of strikes. Horn crumbles to the canvas, defeated. With Horn's fall, Tommy secures his freedom and clears his father's debt. The film concludes with Tommy celebrating alongside Dawn and Lincoln. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the recap.